Hello, Billy the Artist here, back with another how to draw video, and today we are doing Professor Albus Dumbledore. At last, yes, we are doing it. And for all the new future videos, please do like and subscribe and tick the bell, and you'll be notified when new how to draw videos are coming your way. But we are doing the one played by Sir Richard Harris. Now, there may be ambient noise. I can hear in the background somebody has literally just started mowing. I've had a grinder going. There's been people doing tiling on a roof. There are kids playing because everybody is at home, working from home, doing all things at home because we are in that wonderful situation because of staying at home because of the virus thing. Anyway, that's why I'm doing these drawing lessons. But we have done recently, you asked for, and we did Draco. We also did Professor Snape. Now, she could have been in Harry Potter. You know, quirky character, could have been a mate of Luna Lovegood, Billie Eilish. But today we are doing Albus Dumbledore from Harry Potter, movie number 1, the book The Philosopher's Stone, played by Sir Richard Harris. So let's clear this lot away and we can carry on with the introduction. So just move those gently out of the way. Put them safely behind me. Now again, do check those out. The playlist for the Harry Potter full playlist, where I am adding at least one Harry Potter character drawing every week, is in the cards and in the description. There will be links to some of the other videos as well. But I am using shapes. Now there is a link to this video about this grid in the description. It might be in the cards in the top right hand corner. But check out the dimensions for this. This is A4 paper, 210mm by 297. That's the size. There is a link in the description for a video that shows me laying this down for you guys so that you can actually use these dimensions. Now I use this to help. Again, Olaf, if you check out Olaf from Frozen, I do him using a grid like this. It's an old master's technique. I want you to have fun drawing, and I'm going to demystify drawing to make it as accessible and as easy as possible so that you can do the drawings. Now, I do say in the videos that anyone who does like what you think is a representational portrait or even hyper-real, if you don't see them laying the line down and it just looks absolutely mega, then they are either using a grid and it's very faint. I do these lines so you can see them. As I say to you, remember, I tend to use my trusty 2B pencil, but I do have a 2H. Now they do look the same because they're just green, but the numbers are here, and you need to draw the lines on very faintly for your grid, and then you can rub them out, and using a 2H pencil you can actually do that. Now here is a piece of paper, and you can hear the pencil but you cannot see the lines. Okay, that's on there. Now if I do that with a 2B pencil, you can see the lines. And that's the difference. I draw these lines on here so that you can actually see them when I'm doing the working out, laying down the shapes. And again, if you check out How to Draw Anything Part 1, link will be in the description, should be in the cards as well, because I do try and put that one in so that everyone can see. You see how using basic shapes, and I have that saying, you can draw a bird, a bee, a flea, a tree, a horse, a house, or anything else. Do check that out and see how simple it is to use shapes. And these are the construction lines. When you see portrait artists doing their videos and you see them in old art books, and they are laying down the construction lines before, and then they start blocking in the colour, they're doing exactly what I'm teaching you to do here with a pencil. And I love using pencil. It's absolutely brilliant. But as I say, if somebody is doing a portrait and you've not seen them lay that line down, they're either using a projector, a grid and you can't see it, or they are tracing. I don't mind telling you that because they're just artist techniques. That's what Michelangelo did in the Sistine Chapel. It's what people all through history have done. They've used techniques, and I want you to love and fall in love with drawing. Now again, if you follow me on social media, again, links in the banner, You'll see them throughout, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Start using the hashtag drawing with Billy. Now do check out that hashtag and start using it, and I've started sharing other people's drawings that they've done of Harry Potter on Instagram and some of the others, Billie Eilish, and it's just been a joy to encourage people, and that's what I want you to do. So again, this grid, a lot of waffle here, but fortunately I do put that link at the beginning telling you where the lesson starts, is a 2 centimetre grid. I start 5mm in and then it's 2 centimetres in. The reason I do that is this line here, 105mm, that's the centre line. Now we don't have the centre line across here, it's just a little bit above because they're 2 centimetres down, and it just helps to make it really good and simple. So anyway, we are now going to crack on and draw Sir Richard Harris. Now that's my normal trusty 2B pencil. Here I have one that I have used and it's a bit shorter, so I use this extender, pencil extender, to actually build up allow me to just draw. It's getting a little bit short to just use on its own, so it gives it like that extra length and that weight, which is fantastic. But we are now at 6.5 minutes in and we are going to start drawing Sir Richard Harris as Professor Albus Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. So let's enjoy, crack on and get on with the drawing. So now we are going to start with using those shapes, and we're going to start, so we're on the centre line, the 105, and you can come down to it's 105 as well, and we're just going to draw a triangle. Oops, that was using the side of the pencil. It doesn't matter, but I was really pressing on the side of the pencil. So here I am drawing a triangle, and that's Dumbledore's nose. Now I'm going to draw here over the 105 line. We've got a rectangle for that eyebrow. We want another rectangle, just a little kind of one there for that eyebrow, and then we've got these wonderful half moon glasses. So imagine a full, like Harry Potter's full circle glasses. Instead what we're going to do is half a circle, so you want a line across and then that comes around underneath. Now again, these are not horizontal, you can see that they're kind of just slightly off the horizontal line. So we're going to draw that line over, and then we want to put that line in. I'm going to indicate the side of his glasses going up, and that's going to go up to that corner there. The arm going over Professor Dumbledore's ear. So there we've got his half moon glasses. I'm just putting a tiny little slither of a rectangle for his eye there, and then again we've got the bag under his eyes. And again here we want a tiny little rectangle for his left eye. Now we come down, and on the 165 line I'm just going to do an oval. I mean, you can do a rectangle, but I'm just going to do an oval, and that's his mouth. Now we've got this incredible mass of beard, but again here for his moustache, there we've got a rectangle. Here we want a triangle, and again kind of little angle going off, triangle going up there, diagonal line going through that square. Now here we've got the side of his hair. Now this comes up all the way to just underneath the 85 line, and it's about halfway. So there you've got a triangle, and I'm going to bring that down to the 185 line. Rectangle. So now we've got this huge, fantastic, just imagine like you've got a big rectangle basically, and that's coming over to the 65 line, and so there's his beard. You're in. Jobs are good. Now we have got a bit of a shadow here coming down to the 225, and this is what you do for portrait. You're blocking in, you're using shapes, but these grids help give you reference points. And I'm hopefully going to do some more quicker drawings as well. I'm going to call them like daily drawings or daily doodles. That's a plan at some point in the future. But again, I'm just doing these to really help and encourage you. Now again, on this side, between the 45 and the 65, going up under the 85, we've got a triangle here. So I'm going to come down, and it comes down, and you've got a triangle there, and that's his hair off the side. Now straight away you can see there is just a lovely S there, and that comes down to halfway between the 205 and the 225 here, and you've just got this S. So I'm going to do it from the top. So you're going to come down, it kicks across, and there's an S, and that's his hair, and that then goes across the back from the corner of the 165 to 185. That's where that goes. Now again, we want a triangle, rectangle there. Well, it's a bit of a diamond shape really. You can just put his cheek in, and we're going to build that out later. Now here, just on the 225 line, we want a little ellipse, and then we want a rectangle, and that's his kind of embroidery that's on his shoulder jacket. Now there is a lot of embroidery coming down here in his robes, his cloak, his dress, you know, his kind of wizarding robes, which are absolutely wonderful, and we'll put them down in a moment. So now on the 205, we've got his kind of shoulder in the distance. Now his hat is just fantastic, and so that is just below the 65, going up, and we've got this rectangle. So we're just going to draw in, actually more like a parallelogram. Always have trouble saying that first time round. Now again, the same on this side. So if you just draw in a full rectangle and then put that diagonal line in, that's really, really quick and easy. And this is what you can do. So again, I'm just putting a rectangle in, and that's going to come up to the 65, and then I just want to slightly curve that around, and that comes down there, and we can add a bit more detail on, and then we've got a tiny little triangle there, and the top of his hat is there. Now we want just to put some shape in. So very, very quickly we have got a load of kind of cubist lines. So there we have our cubist Albus Dumbledore. Now again, my hand barely touched the paper. I'm working from my shoulder so that my hand is not resting on. And that's just fluid, that's just practice. So just try to get a piece of paper and just draw lots of squares, circles, triangles, shapes, so that your hand is constantly moving about. So now we've got Albus Dumbledore's beard down here, and then we've got this patterning. So here we can see we really do have a little square, and then we want a tiny little rectangle there, tiny little square there, we want a little square there for inside, and then a rectangle going off. And this is how you can do this. Is quite a complex shape. We've got a tiny little triangle there, and this is all the embroidered patterning on his robes. Rectangle, rectangle, and you're just building that shape up. Now here we've got a triangle that goes down, and it's just got some other shapes. We've got a little circle in there, looks like some kind of leaf or grape pattern, who knows. Anyway, it's in there anyway. And then here we've just got two curved lines like a C, and you can just put that pattern in. That's how you can build up patterning really, really simply. Again, circle, just indicating it there. Just a couple of lines for where his folds are and his shoulder on that side. So now we have a very quick basic set of shapes down for our Professor Albus Dumbledore, and that's taken about 8 minutes. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is, building up on those shapes, we are going to start adding the detail. Now here you've got about a third of the way down, we've got the bridge of the nose part of his glasses, his half moon spectacles. Now I am going to indicate that with just a line and then another line above the top, just slightly curved. Now again, we've got the half moon spectacles. You can see they just come down underneath. We've got the construction line, and I'm just going slightly above it to kind of a fifth. So you can divide it, like if you put a line there and then you did it half, it's just above it, so you've kind of got a fifth. So you imagine you've got a split from there to there into 5 parts, and that's kind of roughly where I'm going. It goes through here, that's not bad, and then we want the hinge part is just above the halfway, which is what we've got here. So again, little rectangle. Now it's not a flat line, it's kind of flat across. Just remember, they're not on the horizontal, and then it just curves to join here. So I'm going to do the line across and then curve, and then just above it, line across and just curve. Now I'm pressing on quite hard so that you can see this, and again already you can see that that line is already leaping off the page in comparison to your underdrawing. Now I am going to curve this down, and you can see it's just to the right of the half moon part, just to the right of the centre line, like the centre point on this bottom horizontal line, and it just needs to curve round. You kind of made a dot to dot from this point to there, to there, to there, to there, and we're just going to curve it round, and it is a semicircle. So, and I'm turning the pencil to keep it sharp. Now I am resting on this paper to stop my hand from smudging the lines underneath. And from the previous drawing, I've got a completely clean sheet of paper. From the previous drawing, it was filthy underneath, so that's why I've got a clean one, so that I'm not smudging it with the previous drawing's graphite on from the moving it around and doing all of the drawing of the last lesson, which was Billie Eilish. Again, check out the How to Draw playlists. There are over 110, nearly 120 full lessons on there, and there are time lapses, short time lapses of the full art. Now again, I'm just curving, and I'm going to use the curve of my hand rather than fighting against it. You can go that way, but it's just kind of nice just to use the curve of your hand, your wrist and your fingers. So starting from here, bringing this down, curving round. Now again, another line just above it, that's the outer rim of those glasses. So again, we want this corner, so this one does come just to the right of the centre line. We need to just extend the bridge part of the spectacles, and then we can just curve over, and it touches just below. So we want a little solid rectangle for the hinge part on the edge of the glasses, and then the top part just curves, slight curve going over. Now this comes down to about a third, and the lower point is just to the right, so I'm going to curve that down, and then that's going to go right up to the edge. And there we have the glasses. Straight away, Albus Dumbledore is starting to stare at us, but we need his eyes in underneath. So here, I'm just going to draw that line back. We've got some little hinge part here. Again, just a little rectangle, a couple of lines in between, and then the metal going into his hair. And the same on this side. So you can see that the line goes right the way up to about a quarter, just past the quarter. But we've got the full hinge about there. And we bring the line down. So now we've got the rectangles of Dumbledore's eye, and it's right underneath these glasses, the top part of his glasses. And so what we want, and we can see that edge of his eye comes just past the halfway line, and then that curves, and then we want a nice, just simple little line, and then we've got the dark of his pupil and his iris right in the centre. I'm just going to fill that in because that's, his eye is quite in shadow there. Now we've got the bags under his eyes and all of his laughter lines and wrinkles. So again, like the shape of his half moon spectacles, we can just curve that round and under, and then we've got these fantastic crease wrinkle lines and the shadow caused by the top of his eye spectacles. So now we've got a really good crease line that comes through that corner point, and then that goes through. Just going to sharpen my pencil a bit. That's my electric pencil sharpener, which is truly wonderful. So now the same, we want his right eye inside the glasses on this side. Now we've got the curve that comes down of his top eyelid, and then we've got this fantastic crease of his top eyelid and that line going to the bottom. And again, it's not horizontal, so you come down and we've got this curve of his bottom eyelid, and then where his eye goes underneath, and then here you've got the line coming down to where his tear duct is. Now his eyeball and iris are just to this side of the 85 line. And we can indicate all of that and then just shadow that down as well. And now we want the bags under his eye, and I'm just indicating a little bit of shadow like I did on that side. And then we've got the shadow line, the curve, again just like the half moon spectacles, just draw a U, a basket kind of shape. And then we want that down, and then again we've got these laughter lines coming out the side. Now we're going to stick in his eyebrows. So here we've got up to the quarter line, you've got a rectangle there, and that curves over, just kind of goes up, and you've got this rectangle that we put in for this eyebrow, and it goes up to kind of halfway, but it just curves over slightly, and this is the eyebrow at the top making the shape of his eye socket. And that comes right down through this corner point. So I'm going to indicate all that in just quickly. And then you've got a nice crease in his eyelid, It's a bit darker right in the corner. And again, you use that rectangle and the shapes that you made at the beginning. So again, same on this side now. Got a bit of a shadow above. We want here, we've got a little rectangle of good solid dark for his eyebrow and the top part of his eye socket. And then a rectangle that's coming down like we did here, just on that side of his nose on the inside. And we can then build that up just on the inside of his nose. And you've got the crease lines that go over in this kind of little shape of shadow between his two top eyebrows. And then it curves down. And we've got the shape that comes right the way down. So there you've got a triangle. And just adding a little bit of shading. And already you can see his eyes starting to give you good focus points in the actual drawing. Now we're just going to put in his nose very quickly. So we can see here that the round part of the centre underneath his nose goes across the 105 centre line. And on this side it kind of comes up to about a third. And just comes underneath. And then we've got, so here you've got a C, like a capital C. And it's on the quarter, so just past the centre. And that's the side of his nose. And then on this side, it's like a D shape. And that goes up. And that should go up to about the halfway point. So we're just making that a little bit taller. And then the D on this side, going from his nostril underneath. So imagine, like I say, that's your capital C. And then imagine you've got this flat of the D here, and then you curve it round. And there's the front part of the D. And the underneath of his nose. And then here, going just above, you've got a triangle. You can see there you've just got a triangle, and that's the crease line going from his nose down the side of his cheek. Just indicates a bit of shadow. And then straight away here, coming down kind of 2/3, you've got a V, making a triangle there. And that's a whole shadow shape. And then you can just indicate a bit of shadow underneath the bottom of the nose. A little bit down the sides. Now I'm just going to sharpen my pencil again. And we're going to come back in and we are going to put in Dumbledore's mouth. So again, it's kind of this lovely simple oval shape that we have here. Now, what we have is a kind of wiggly shape. We've got wispy lines of his moustache coming down. Now again, this is why we've put the shape lines down, the construction lines. Because of his beard, it's all rather fuzzy and furry and hairy. You know, the only real solid line is his glasses, his nose and his teeth down here. Everything else is pretty soft and wispy. You know, we've got edges of fabric and things which is soft, but you know, there's a solid line there. But his moustache off his beard and all his facial hair is covering his kind of top lip, so the shape of his top lip, and that's why we've got this triangle of shadow just coming down onto his hair of his moustache. Now, we do have the teeth, and we've got this slight curve of his top lip underneath. And so kind of just curves around, down and under. The line and comes across right to about past the kind of halfway line up to this corner here. Now we then have the line for his teeth. That kind of, they curve around and come around, down and underneath. So we've then got a rectangle shape with curved edges. That tooth's a little bit higher. And then we've got two teeth. Right up in that corner. And then we want another little rectangle. And another one. And then another one. And then we can increase the shadow right the way underneath, and then we've got the shadow of his bottom lip coming round, and you got a shadow coming down to about there. And it's just weird because the hair goes right up to his bottom lip, and that's above the centre line there. But it's all kind of fairy, so I'm just wiggling soft kind of pencil lines, and then you're going up to the corner. But you can see already it's looking like a mouth. And this is the thing with lots of wispy hair, it's going to make it, as again I'm just drawing some wiggly lines to indicate the hair there on that side, and it's the wispy hair that will make it, but your detail is in his eyes, his nose and his mouth, and that'll pull everything together. So that's his kind of mouth in, and we're going to indicate a shadow underneath the top, the same as we got there on his nose, and then on his teeth because they are in shade underneath his top lip, and then we can increase that a little bit. And already you can see Dumbledore, Sir Richard Harris, as Dumbledore, really starting to stare out of the page at you. So now I'm just going to indicate a lot more of the hairlines and the shape of his hair coming down. So here we've got these fantastic crease lines coming down off his face, from his eyes down his cheek. And we've got one going through there, right on that corner point of the 145, just inside of it, and one, yeah, both 145 lines, and then the crease in his cheek there, and then his hair of his moustache kind of going up to the side of his beard is just above kind of the halfway point. Now I'm just indicating all the way up the tops of his beard that go up and join his hair, and you can't quite see his ear. So now I'm just indicating a little bit stronger the edge of his hair. Now this is going to be shade, and we've got the strong highlight here, and then we want the highlight of his beard coming down, and we're just going to have some quick fun with the shading with this. And just doing that kind of wispy all the way down. And again here we've got some shade underneath his bottom lip. Now that already is looking like quite a refined and elegant face, which is lovely to do. And so here now we've got rectangle there for the shadow that's coming down. We just curve that shadow down off the bottom of his glasses, rectangle that comes down, and that's the top of his cheek. So now we've got on this side just a V shape coming down, a triangle, and then it kind of cuts off there. And so now I'm going to do the same for the hair on this side. And we've got this S at the bottom. Now we need to kind of bring it up, and you can see how it comes from the 125 here. We kind of brought it up, but we need the S coming from the 125 down through the 145 all the way down. And there's your S. And we can curve that one up a little bit higher. So this lower one, it was just a little bit too low. But again, this is the thing with doing your preparatory drawing. You can make those kind of little mistakes and it doesn't matter, because you can build it up later in the drawing. So again, we want wispy hair coming all the way down. And then coming up to join the side of his face. Here we want a rectangle of shade. Same there. Again, we've got just indicating very loosely where the shade is going to be in the beard coming down. Now, the same on the cheek on this side. We've got the shadow coming down, going off, and we've got some more laughter and crease lines under his eyes. That's looking pretty good. So now we've got the hat, and we've got these rectangle shapes in with slight diagonals in, but you can see here the diagonal, we've got the rectangle shape in, and it actually cuts across and then folds up. So I'm going to go from the top, and that comes down, crosses that cross point there, comes down a little bit, and then starts to curve across and comes through about halfway, and the fold comes down underneath. Now this curves across, goes above the corner point of that square, and then cuts through down, and then the back of his hat, just inside, you've got a little kind of kink there, and then it curves out and then curves back down, and then we can do the fabric going all the way up underneath that corner point, and that's there. And then we've got this little triangle, can refine that a little bit under there. Now on this side we've got the corner point comes up above to the 85 line, and then it comes down, goes through about the halfway point which we've got in, and then it curves to join where we've got this V on the top. Again, we come across two squares, and you can see it just does go across there, but we want a slight curve, so we're following the construction line, curve it round, and it comes right the way down, goes through that bottom part, and then goes off around the back of the head, side of his head, and then within the box we can draw that line down to connect. Then we want the curve going up. Again, it goes through the 45 point pretty much dead on, so we just go up a little bit and it kinks over, goes through the 45 point, goes up, kinks over again a little bit, and then goes up to join the top part. Now again, we've got this final shape at the top that we've put the construction lines in. That goes up, curves all the way across, curves down and connects in. Now at the top where we've got this highlight, we've got an oval and a bit of a shape halfway in the top of the oval, and then through there we can just indicate the shade. Now I'm going to increase the dark underneath his nose, and the same underneath his mouth. Just that little bit where underneath his teeth. And there you've got Richard Harris all drawn in, the outline down, all from basic shapes, and that's taken about half an hour, 25 minutes to half an hour, and you've got the basic shape down there. But again, just using simple techniques. Have fun with your drawing. So now we are going to rub out. Again, I use this Stettler Mars plastic. It's just one that I find works. I'm using this paper to hold the sheet underneath because I'm going to be rubbing out quite hard, just to get rid of these 2 centimetre construction lines. In fact, before I do any more, I'm just going to lightly put those back in very quickly, because there's a lot of shapes on that hat I've just noticed. So again, we've got, this is like some kind of, I don't know, dragon skin pattern or something. And so we want a rectangle coming down there, curve it at the bottom, rectangle there, box there, circle that comes around in that box. We've got a rectangle there, another rectangle there, and then here we can see there's like a kind of B shape in the patterning, and that's going to go all the way up. And then we've got another rectangle there with a connecting line. I'm just indicating these quite quick. A rectangle there, and we'll just add the detail on in a moment. But there is a lot of patterning in there, and using the grids will really help put everything together. So here from this grid you can go right the way up, and there's a kind of shape. We've got another rectangle across those 2 grids there. Here we've got an L, so we can, there's the back of the L, and that curves across. Looks here, it looks like an F. If you kind of look from here, so you've got the top of the F there, coming down the side. Again, that's a bit of a triangle there, but then you've got the middle part, you can see there like a capital F. Now here we want a little rectangle there, another one going there, and that goes up, and then we've got a bit of a teardrop here. So this shape comes down and curves up, you've got a teardrop, and that leaves a shape at the bottom. Here we've got a little diagonal, but we can bring that down a bit further, and another rectangle. And that helps us with the shapes. So now I really am going to rub out as best I can. I'm using this larger Mars plastic rubber to get the big space area, the lines out from where there's big spaces. Now I'm just rubbing out around the edge slightly, just to clear off the lines where they join on our portrait of Dumbledore. So now down in his beard here, and right down the side, his shoulder, inside his chin, his nose, that's got a big space for us that we can get this in. Just cleaning the edge of my eraser off on my jeans. This space down in his hair. Just making sure the tape's secure. Now, I've done that. I'm just going to gently brush all of those rubbings out of. I'm just brushing them onto the piece of paper that I'm leaning my hand on while I'm doing the drawing. And then I can just put them in the bin rather than going on the floor. Now, I've got a Mars plastic rubber in a kind of pen, which means I've got a little bit more control and ability to get the lines out in the kind of awkward spots without obliterating my drawing. But it means I can get rid of the lines in a lot of the places. Again, across the top of his nose, inside his eye, inside the glasses, his cheek. I don't mind leaving some of the construction lines showing, but if you did do these lines, the grid lines, very gently using a HB or even a 2B, but very, very lightly, or a 2H pencil, then you'd barely see them, and erasing them would be an absolute doddle. There we can get rid of that line that we had on that S. And there. I see I've lost some of the shading that I put in, but that doesn't matter because the bulk of those construction lines that we put in, the shapes, are still doing their job for me. And because we're going to go back in and detail up this drawing presently, it doesn't matter about removing all of these lines the way that we are. So even there amongst that cheek, and especially in his glasses. So, and you can get these erasers even smaller, like in the top of the pens, the technical pencils, they've got very small lines. Again, I'm going to use my putty rubber. I'm just getting rid of these ones in these shadows above his eyes, just gently dabbing them out. I can leave a couple in because, like I say, it's a little bit arty, and most of our shading will cover up a lot more of them when we draw up Dumbledore in a moment. And so there, straight away, we actually have Dumbledore looking pretty good. I hope you like that. That's quite good. And we're going to build him up quite quickly and go for it in shading him in a moment. Just sharpening up my 2B pencil, and now we are going to block in a lot of shading, and we're going to leave some highlights. So here we've got a diagonal of highlight coming down the side of Dumbledore's cheek. And again, I'm using the side of the pencil softly, and then we've got a V there of shade. Again, the centre of his forehead is kind of, there's an indentation there where we've got a shadow that comes down to here, and again up the side. And that just gives us a little bit of shape and definition where we are going to be shading. Now, a little bit lighter there on the centre. And we've got here diagonal shadow of his head coming down from underneath his hat. And then a bit lighter, and then again lighter still. I'm just filling in. Now again, I'm using this 2B pencil. I may well be using a 4B for some of the darker areas, but I'm doing this one quite quickly. Now, bringing the shade down on his nose, just above his eye, right down underneath his eye. Now there's a highlight here from the side coming in, just on his eye there. Now the side of his nose, coming down right the way. Now I'm going down, I'm kind of putting mid to light tones in. And again, down the side of his nose here, to the C that we've got here, coming round underneath his nose. And going up, and then we've got the shadow coming off from underneath his glasses. Again, all the way down here. Again, there's some kind of light reflecting on the glasses here, but we want to build the shadow underneath his left eye, and then down this cheek here, but we've got this highlight all the way down the side, so we're going to leave the paper bare for quite a bit there, but we've got some lines coming down, and then the edge of his cheek going next to his hairline, and then this shadow down his right cheek, again coming up to his eye socket. So there, straight away you can see there's a lot more definition just by adding those extra tones. Now we've got the same kind of shadow coming down into his hair. Now again, I am going in the direction of the hair and his beard. I'm leaving some white showing. Again, that just gives you the shape and direction of the hair. Now, much lighter coming off the edge. And again, on this side, we've got the shapes, we've got this wonderful highlight down this edge. But we've just got the shape of the shadow caused by the hair and the way it's flowing. Bit of shadow before his beard. Now all down here, down his beard, you've got this fantastic highlight that kind of starts in line with the edge of his eye down here. So I'm just going to indicate some lines going down. And we've got this incredible highlight, and there's some, and you just leave the paper bright and don't touch it. Now I'm using Dale Rowney cartridge paper, smooth cartridge paper. It's a little bit yellow. Here, as you kind of look off the edge, you can see there's a white paper underneath. I only use this because I really love the paper, and that's a personal thing. It's just a cartridge pad that I have used since my art school days, and I just love it. I love the texture, I love the feeling, the way it takes the pencil. It's just fantastic. And if you find something that you enjoy working on and you can keep getting hold of it, just keep doing it. Now, I have used other cartridge pads, different ones in different times and different weights. This is, I think, 90 GSM. No, 150 GSM, £90. Just the difference, just looking on the outside cover, and it's just great stuff. I just really, really love it, and it just works for me. So enjoy. If you find something, enjoy it. So again, I'm now doing his moustache coming off down the side. Now again, I'm drawing and I'm just turning the pencil slightly so as I'm not getting a completely flat edge because of his whiskers. Now, I'm being very loose and sketchy and impressionistic. If you want to do hyperreal drawing, you will have to spend days, and I mean days, on a small area. Now, I know on my oil paintings, if you check out my painting and drawing time lapses, I can average about 1 square inch an hour when I get to the detail stage. Sometimes it's even slower depending on the amount of detail on some of the motorbikes. And those motorbike paintings can take me the quickest 2 weeks. Most are 3 to 4 weeks. Some have taken me 6, 7 or 8 weeks. You want to do lots of detail, you have got to put in lots of hours. Now, I did actually have a comment on the Billie Eilish, and again, thank you so much for all your comments and your likes. Now again, I'll come back to that in a moment. Let's talk about this comment. Anyway, somebody commented and said, oh, great drawing, love the lesson, it's a bit long, it's 3 hours long. Now, I'm actually going slow because I am talking while I am drawing. While I'm actually doing the drawing, I am talking at the same time, completely live, giving you the tutoring that you need, demystifying drawing as much as I can so that you can actually learn and grow and develop your skills and techniques. And I politely replied to this person and said, look, this is a quick tutorial. 3 hours is not a long time for a portrait, and I put a link into the time-lapse drawing that I did of Harry and Meghan from their wedding, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and I just did a drawing of them for fun, and that was about 3 full days, I think. It just took me, and that 3 8-hour days, that's 24 hours of drawing lessons. Somebody did actually ask, can I do a lesson video on that drawing, real time? It's like, no, because it took a long time. So it's great that I get the comments and I love replying to people, but I'm getting so many comments that I may not be able to reply to everybody as well, and thank you for that. It's just great being that busy, but I love and I do try and reply to as many as I possibly can. But it is getting more and more difficult the busier that I am getting with these. Now you can see there I have just filled in lots of the beard. Now again, I've just gone in the kind of general direction that the beard is, going that way. And I've just filled it in. Now it's all kind of wispy coming off the edge here. But if you want hyperreal, you've just got to spend hours and hours and hours. Oh, and back to the comments as well. Now, I know that some of you keep asking for various things. A lot of you Harry Potter fans, hence I'm doing Albus Dumbledore, have waited for more than 6 months for this. And it's a joy to be able to actually be doing this for you now. And I'm going to be doing a Harry Potter one once a week. Now, I know that some of my subjects that I will be drawing are not for everybody. But I just find it weird that people will dislike a video lesson. They'll actually click thumbs down. Now I know from other people who are YouTubers where pretty much straight away somebody would dislike the video. within minutes. So they're actually notified that a YouTuber has posted a video up, and they go and they purposefully click thumbs down. Now, in the early days of the internet and social media, I taught my children, who are now all grown up, I taught them, you should only post things what you are prepared to say to somebody's face. And really, being polite is the best thing that you can possibly be. So, even if I do a drawing of a cartoon character, or a motorcycle, or something like that, it may not be your thing, but that doesn't mean you have to click the thumbs down button. Just some thoughts from the studio. A little bit of politeness etiquette would be quite well appreciated. So now, there, we've got a lot of tone, and you can see this highlight here standing out. And I need to just increase that a little bit, and we will build it up kind of quickly, or as quickly as we possibly can. But again, I'm going for an impressionistic representation as quick as I actually can. So now I've just sharpened my pencil again, so I can actually get some sharper lines going. Now, I've not actually smudged anything on here yet. Again, I'm going over his cheek, coming up here, filling that tone in. And his nose, just adding a little bit of highlighted tone. Now we want to come down the side of his hair. And now I'm increasing the shadow underneath his bottom lip and on his bottom lip. Again, using the side of the pencil very carefully, pushing that across, increasing the shadow in that corner a little bit more, and his top lip. And then we've got where his beard comes off over his chin and then comes under his chin. You can just see there's a bit more of a shadow there underneath. And you just do slightly less lines as you come away, and that's how it kind of blends in. You can see that the tone is actually blending in. So now I'm just increasing. He hasn't really got, you can see like there, the highlight, you can see the whites of his eyebrows pointing off up there, and the same going there. So I'm just indicating little wispy, but it's the shadow that's giving, of the underneath of his eye socket, that's giving it a solid definition. Again, I'm being very loose as I'm increasing the shadow. I'm using the side of my pencil to put the shadows in the underneath of his eyebrow, in the top part of his eye socket, and again coming down the side. And going up over the top, and then down into the side. Now right in here we've got a lovely, we're carrying the shadow on inside the glasses, and then just to the side of his nose and the glasses. Now I'm resting my arm on my hand just off camera down here, and it allows me to just keep the pivot going from my shoulder, but it gives me a little bit more control rather than just having it free floating. But you can see I haven't got the paper underneath my hand because I'm using my right hand underneath my left arm my left wrist, the middle of my left wrist, and that's giving me the capability to draw quite freely. So again, I'm now increasing the shadow down off his nose and underneath his nose, the crease line coming off from the corner, right underneath his nose. And you've got a reflected highlight right underneath, so I'm not going right to the line that I've drawn, but just above it, just nice and soft. Really increasing the dark. Now we've got this kind of shadow coming down, and the creases underneath his eye, over the top. We want that dark shadow going right up to that corner. Bag under his eye, and then here you've got, it's the shadow off this top part of his glasses, and that's coming across right there, and then you've got the shadow right underneath coming out over, and then coming down his cheek to the edge, that nice thick line there. And already you can see we're getting much better tonal values and shape and three-dimensionality just by increasing. So now we need to just increase the shadow a little bit. There on his cheek. And even increasing the dark in his eye. Sharpening those lines up a little bit, going right into the corner. Now again, we've got this column of shadow going right up into the corner. Now where the creases are on his skin, I'm just kind of following the direction, then indicating some of the hairs of his white eyebrows on the top. Now I'm increasing the underneath line of the bridge of his glasses. Now I'll put the kind of dark bits and the highlights on quite near the end, but we do want soft shadow across the bridge of his nose caused by that there. And then we've got between the two eyebrows, we can increase the dark. And the same on this side for underneath his right eyebrow. Now we've got an incredible dark patch in the fold above his eye that goes right in that corner. And the shadow comes over to there, but we've got a crease line that goes up and goes right over. Again, we've got a crease line going up there and off, and then we've got another one, kind of scar lines. And then right in the centre we've got a V crease line there and a couple of others. And this is how you just move around the picture. Just building up your detail and your tones for your shadows. So there we can see we've got this kind of highlight on his glasses just showing through. We've got the creases coming underneath, and there will be some reflected highlights that we'll pick out with the putty rubber. In fact, I'll just do that now so as you can see that. So above there we can just dab that off very gently. Again, the same. And there you get a little bit more definition on that eye and underneath, just by dabbing gently with a putty rubber. So now we're going to increase the shadow on this side quite quickly. And we've got a little bit of indication of some wispy lines of his white eyebrow going up the top. And just like we did on the other drawings, whether it was Snape or Billie Eilish, when we put the hat in, it'll really start to pull all of this together. But I'm just putting in these kind of mid-tones to give us a lot more central definition on his eyes, because you can see that's really starting to stare out of the page at us. And he's got really nice smiley twinkly eyes, as it says in the book, but because there's no highlights in his actual pupils, it's all about the shadow and the shape caused by the light coming down above his eyes. So here, right in this corner, we've got to bring this shadow down underneath. Got the little bit of the edge of the glasses inside. Same on this side. Then hold on to his nose. We've got the shadow line coming down there. Secondary one coming down this side of his nose. Not too dark. We can indicate that going all the way up. And then we've got the shadow coming down the right side of his nose to the top part of the C. And in fact, I'm just going to increase the fuzz around this corner. Same here. So now we want, like we've done on this side, we want this darker shadow just pulling off his nose. You can see there's just a slight little crease here, like a little S-bend crease coming down to the crease in his cheek, the same on this side. We can just increase the shadow. Now I'm doing this in a similar way that I did the young Albus Dumbledore. Again, check out, that'll be in the description, from Fantastic Beasts, played by Jude Law. And that was a drawing that I started at midnight when I first saw the trailer. And I did that drawing, and then I did a full tutorial, just, a kind of a 20-minute sketch one night when the first Fantastic Beasts trailer came out. A few years ago now. So now we're going to darken up underneath his nose, coming right the way round. We really need to darken up down here, but I really do love the kind of sketchy nature of that first Dumbledore, and that's why I'm doing this one similar. And again, you can use your finger, you can use kitchen roll, you can use smudging tools, and you can soften out these sketch lines, but I want you to see just what you can do with the pencil. Just going to sharpen again. Now we're going to come back up into this eye, and we've got shadow in the bags under his eyes, kind of a long V going this way. So you can see a really good dark patch of shadow coming around here and then going up through the highlight on the glasses, and then we can just indicate a little bit more shadow in that corner going up to his tear duct. And then on this side, the lines going up over the top of his eyelid. And now, a bit more shadow coming down the side, and we've got the shadow caused by the bar of the side of his glasses, the arm going off. Goes up right underneath. And again, just increasing the shadow in his mouth, right underneath that bottom lip. Again, I'm just fuzzing the top where his moustache hairs are coming over his top lip, increasing the shadow in the corner. And in this corner too. Again, just bitting the lines through his hair, and that's how you kind of make it stand out and make the shadow actually show through. You just put some little lines in between, so you haven't got a solid black line, it's just showing through the hairs. Kind of little plane underneath his bottom lip. Again, this is coming down to his top lip, and then the shadow we've got increased coming down. Again, the same here, we're just darkening up the edges slightly. And that's looking pretty good so far. Let's just quickly whack in a bit more shadow here. Oh, yeah, we'll do some more and we'll just carry it on, and then we'll get on to the hat. That's looking pretty good though. Now I've just noticed we need to increase the shadow just underneath the glasses. Oh. That's a little bit too close. The same on that side. So we can just pull off a little bit of a highlight. But we've got the shadow coming down his nose, following the shape of his nose and the shape of his glasses. So here it goes right the way up and it runs with the glasses curving down, and then here it curves across his cheek opposite the direction of the glasses, and then here it starts to curve back around and comes up there. And then top of the glasses, you can see there's a second line that goes all the way up to join there. So here we're doing the same, and so now I'm just going to lightly pull off some of the pencil that we've put on there. Now again, here, just indicating some of the crease lines on the side of his face, and then coming all the way up to the top. before we fill in the darks. We're going to do his hat first, but I do have a little bit of kitchen roll, so now I'm just gently smoothing some of the shadow down. All around his face, but just very gently so you can still see the pencil lines. I'm just touching lightly. I think I did do this a little bit on the young Dumbledore, and it just gives you a slightly softer tone, so straight away you can see that's looking very, very human and lifelike. So now again, I'm just going to quickly dab in a couple of highlights on the top of his nose, just to the side, right on the side, right in that crease there, well, the crease between the crease of his nose and the shadow underneath his glasses, right underneath, in the corners, and then these creases in between his eyebrows on the top. Highlight on that side there, dabbing on the top there, and then right in the highlight on the side of his face and the creases, just indicating quickly some of the highlights right on the side of his nose, a little bit going up there on his cheek underneath the shadow cast by his glasses, and inside his glasses, again in the hair on the top, and I'm just pinching it together, and I'm just going in the direction of the hairs and just pulling up into the wispy bits on his beard and indicating some of the highlights, and again the same going off up onto the edge. It's just while we've got the mid-tones in there, you can see straight away you've got that lovely highlight down the side of his face coupled with the highlight on his beard, and we can just increase that as we go along quite quickly as we detail and put more of the darks in. But now we're going to get the rest in. So I'm still using my 2B pencil, and now I'm off the page, I'm using my hand to rest, and we've got, this is like a kind of velvety texture on the top of his hat, and that's the lighter parts. You've got a highlight right on the top. So it's these darks where really I should be using the 4B, which I will be presently, to fill all of that in. So now, just like Billie Eilish with all of the chains, we've got quite a lot of detail, but we're going to be impressionistic. So we've got all of the shapes that we've put in. So we've got this like kind of F here, this corner, we've got an F here, and there was another one here. Looks like some kind of magician snake rap band hat, you know, it's like kind of strange, but no idea. But again, Dumbledore, what a wonderful guy. Great character that J.K. Rowling produced. So I'm just indicating these darks quickly, and I'm just looking, so you've got like a knobbly bit there. I'm coming down off this curve, bring that around right to the bottom, and then we've got a curve up there, and then that kicks, and then right the way down. So we've got this like kind of F, so I'm just wobbling that a little bit, coming down, and we've got like that larger bit there, and so we know that that's going to be dark. And the same here, little M that comes over, little shape that goes back up, And then here we've got a little rectangle, little one going off up the top, another little square coming down, one rectangle going over, and then another square at the bottom. Then we want a slight kern line, another one there, another one there, long black shape there, little triangle shape there, and then we've got this pattern here, and that curves and goes around. And then we've got a line that comes and follows, so we follow that around and then just fill those bits in. And then we've got, so here we've got an S. Just do an S going back up. We can fill those shapes in, then we can follow the curve down and it kind of comes down. Just indicating. So straight away you can see we're just starting to build up the pattern that's in Dumbledore's hat. So here now we've got that curve coming down, same that goes over there. I say that was what that kind of capital B bit that we had going on. Just indicate some little lines in there. Now we've got the same going in here, so just a little curve. That's a banana, a couple of lines inside, long sausage, a line in the middle. Then we've got here, we've got, you can see it kind of goes all the way round, so it comes up here and then goes up to there. And these are just simple patterns. Now I'm being impressionistic, just loose and free with the actual drawing lines. I'm just now wiggling this pattern in, kind of a quick crosshatch kind of pattern, snake skin possibly. I'm just putting some wiggly lines in. Again, the same up in this top part, a little crease. And this is a bit like, you know, doodling on a pad when you're answering the telephone or something like that. You know, you talk to your parents or grandparents when they used to sit on the telephone with a doodle pad next to them. And you're just drawing shapes and patterns and just repeat patterns going around. And that's how you fill in these actual lines. And patterns on this hat that Dumbledore's got. So again, right in this corner we've got just some lines going up that make that shape, and we can see here again we've got, it goes up and it curves down and curves off again. And inside these like kind of snakes, they are lighter. So we'll leave those to the best of our ability to be highlighted up. Well, the fact that the paper will be showing through will allow them to be highlighted. Meanwhile, we're just filling in the paper with patterns and lines and cross-hatching to indicate Dumbledore's hat. And this is where you can have a load of fun drawing. Just keep looking at your reference and then just think, right, I'm going to put this kind of squiggle here, and then I'm going to put these cross-hatching lines here, and then I'm going to put this kind of squiggle here as well, and a couple of dab marks and points, and I'm turning my pencil so that I get a sharper, slightly sharper point where it's just worn down a little bit. And then you just keep adding squiggles, and that's how you build up the tones. But straight away you can see that hat's becoming quite patterned. Now, I'm coming right to the edge. I'm increasing the dark line right on the edge. So here we've got, I can see 1, 2, 3 full circles. These are like really big scales. And they are coming down there. I'm just whacking some cross hatching in. And because this is not a major detail area, you can be a little bit freer. But as I said earlier, if you want it to be hyper real, you've got to be prepared to spend a lot of time on this. Doing this area of this hat will take you hours. It could possibly be just a full day on its own. So again, just filling each of these circles in with some tone. And a little bit of tone around there. And I'm just literally just putting some squiggles over where I can see like the folds in the hat. Now, 4B pencil, just because it's blacker and it'll fill it in quicker. And again, I'm twisting it. And it's giving me those big black shapes. It's like filling in like lakes in a map. So if you look at like a map of the Lake District, or if your country, if you're in America, there's lakes in certain areas. I think Michigan has a lot of lakes. Colorado has a lot of lakes. So if you check out those, that's what we're filling. We're filling in pools of black. Now I'm filling in the shadow underneath the hat where it comes down and joins the top of his head. So again, here now we've got a very sharp right angle. We've got that little set of shapes there. And then this curves. I want to add some. Again, I'm lightly pressing on but turning the pencil quickly. It's so much softer than a 2B. But we can now fill the black in of the hat there. Straight away you can see we've got like these highlights, but you've got the black of the hat actually working with you, those pools, and giving it so much more shape and form. But that's quickly and impressionistically given us the shape of Dumbledore's hat. So now I'm using the edge into this kind of felt bit on the top. Shadow right at the back, little bit there, and then we've got this incredible shadow coming down. Right at the front in this big V. Now I'm pressing on the paper quite hard with the pencil, so I'm holding it flat with my right hand, but I've got this piece of paper to stop it from breaking out of the masking tape in the corners. Again, I tape my paper down so that it stays still for the lessons. But even when I'm doing my full illustrations, I've got so used to taping it down that I just do it all the time now. Again, that's personal preference. You don't have to tape it down. So now we've got the dark of that velvet coming down on the back of the hat. Corner right on the top, and then we can really darken down those edges, and even the hat itself, it just needs to be darker. The highlighted part can really accentuate it. I've said before, I love pressing on beers for black. I love the burnished lines. Now I'm really increasing the edge of the hat. And the shadow right the way down at the bottom, curving round right to the corner. Even that one again, we can just increase the darkness a bit just to send it back. Just that highlight. There we go, that's really nice. You can still see the highlight on the hat, but it's really dark and velvety, so you don't have sharp highlights like we've got in these curved bits on here. So that's about 2/3 of the hat done. I'm going to sharpen the 4B. I'm also going to sharpen the 2B, and we're going to do the same on this side. So here now we can see we've got a kind of wiggly curve, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of 5 shapes in that one. Curve that all the way up. Now we've got these kind of rectangle shapes. These will be the pools of black again. So that curves up and goes around, and then we've got a triangle coming down with 1, 2, 3 kind of big scales in, and then there's a little bit of a highlighted pattern there. And we can increase that line there, but then we want just cross hatching going all the way up. Now here we've got the edge of this one, and it kind of goes off and you've got another edge, but you can see it really is like a B. So there we've got a very simple B shape, and we can just curve that round, comes down, bring the curve round for the next part, and then the bottom part of the B, we can curve that round, and then we can just put in those big shapes inside. Now you can actually count them, or you can just put the shapes in just to indicate. Again, that's the beauty of it being impressionistic, because you're creating an impression and people will look at it and go, oh yeah, that's Dumbledore's very patterned hat, and that's what you're doing. If you want photorealism, you've got to spend the hours. And it's if you love that kind of work, enjoy it. Just really enjoy it. But I couldn't do the amount of tutorials that I want to do for all of you guys if I was doing that. And I just want to so encourage you with your drawing, because this is fantastic. Look, I mean, his hat's really coming together there, and that's already making his face lift off. Oh, Dumbledore. Dumbledore, Dumbledore. And when the books came out, our neighbour back then, she passed away quite a few years ago. She was an English teacher. She used to teach English in schools many years ago. And she knew that we read to our children lots. And she said, "Oh, have you heard of the Harry Potters?" And I said, "Oh, no, not yet. What are they?" And she told us. And we got in book 2 to book 3. And I read, "Dumbledore spoke like this." And I think Richard Harris kind of had that kind of tone to his voice, which was quite good. Here we've got this teardrop that's coming down. I'm just really pushing the black in on that one quick, but we want this shape coming down here on this F. That goes up, curves around, try and that comes down and goes right to the bottom. And then we've got his hat into his hair. And so I used to have to come up with loads of voices for all of the characters. And Dumbledore's was an easy one to do because he just spoke like this. "I'm a batty old man who likes sherbet lemons. And I sound like I couldn't tie my own shoelaces. In fact, that's why I wear slippers. And in reality, I could blow your head off with my wand and my eyes closed while picking my nose because there's a funny being up there or something." Anyway, so yeah, like I say, we just had fun. It was great. So he was one of the really good ones. And then when the final book came off, I had to take 3 days off work to read to the kids. It was just a joy, an absolute joy. So anyway, we've now got those in. We want, there's a nice U shape there, going right to the edge. And that kind of breaks, and we can just add some squiggles. Need to sharpen again. That's fantastic. I am never going to get bored of my electric pencil sharpener. It is wonderful. As I used to spend hours and hours and hours sharpening my pencils. So anyway, I'm now just quickly filling that in, squiggling backwards and forwards. And then we want you've got a triangle shape there again, just quickly squiggling that in, squiggling some lines in there, and squiggling lines all the way down the back. And it's things like this that just take the time. There's a lot of detail. Again, I'm just showing you quickly what you can do. You want to do the detail a lot more, spend a lot more time on it. I think this one will come in at about 2.5 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours, which is great for a tutorial. And that's just good fun. But again, just go backwards and forwards in the video to the sections that you need to. And just keep covering the bits that you need. Now, if you are watching on a mobile device, tablet, if you've got it in front of you, if you tap to the right in the middle, like tap twice, like kind of go, it'll jump forwards 10 seconds. If you go to the left, it'll jump forward backwards 10 seconds. If you tap 3 times, it'll jump forwards 20 seconds and so on. 4 times 30 seconds and backwards and forwards. If you're on a computer, again, I'm just doing lots of cross-hatching and squiggles here. There's a line, we need to leave some kind of light bits. I'm just going to pull out some light because we've got lots of dark. There we go, just a few dabs of the putty rubber. So now we've got the pattern is going in this kind of direction, so I'm drawing lines. But if you're on a computer with a keyboard, if you press K or spacebar, it will pause. Next to K on the left, you've got J. That'll jump you back 15 seconds. L will jump you forwards. It's either 10 or 15. That'll jump you forwards 10 or 15 seconds. Need some larger bits there, and these are little things that you can jump forwards. The arrow keys, the cursor keys, left and right, they'll jump you 5 seconds, and then comma and dot will move you, if you hit pause, they'll move you forwards a frame at a time, or a second at a time. It's either a frame or a second, but they're things that you can do, and I will do a video actually showing that, how you can jump backwards and forwards through the videos, building up your skills on certain sections. So you can like jump forwards with your finger or with your mouse a long way, and then you can refine it by using J and L, all the cursor keys, or double tapping or triple tapping or quadruple tapping backwards and forwards. But again, I will do a video so you can actually see that in action on my how to draw videos, which is quite good. So again, I'm just going to sharpen my pencil, and I'm going to go back to the 4B because we're going to fill in these pools now. So again, we've got this dark area coming off on the hat. Now we're just filling in these shapes and these pools of black. And actually the shapes and patterns of this are, they kind of remind me a little bit of Gustav Klimt. And what's interesting is people have been recreating old master paintings with what they've got at home. And somebody recreated Klimt using biscuits, The Woman in Gold. Now that's a brilliant film. About the repatriation of a portrait of a lady from Vienna, where the painting was taken by the baddies, the Nazis in World War II. Now, Gustav Klimt did the painting, and it's absolutely brilliant. Helen Mirren's in it, and I think it's Ryan Reynolds plays the lawyer. An absolutely wonderful film, absolutely beautiful, and great film based around a very, very wonderful painting. Now I actually like Klimt. He did some quite freaky fantasy stuff as well. In his time, and it's just amazing, wonderful. So it kind of works quite well for Dumbledore, Gustav Klimt does. So again, I'm just building up the pattern and some of the shadows as we go around, and the tone. And even though I'm using the 4B right now, you can still get lighter tones, and just again squiggling. I am just having fun doodling and squiggling and making patterns and shapes. As I just go around the hat, coming right to this corner. So again, here we've got a really nice shape that's kind of making this F here, and down to the bottom. And so now we want to carry on this tone, this darker tone shadow, right the way across, the bottom curving underneath onto his forehead of the hat, and that curves down, and off there we've got a darker shadow that comes down onto the hair, right underneath, right to the edge. Kind of darker on those parts, but again you can see now how simple it is just by using squiggles and shapes. We've really brought together. Now that was a good half an hour on just on the hat. I'm going back to the 2B pencil just to add a little bit sharper points and fine details. As we just come around different parts of the hat. So again, I'm now just cross-hatching it. It just gives it that more definition, so that needs to be darker. So again, you just keep adding cross-hatching. Just makes it very, very simple. A few squiggles, a few lines. So this bit here, we can now just add those highlights in just by pulling some of the pencil off with a putty rubber. And the same on this side. And it gives that kind of strange sheen that you get on fabric with, you know, metal type colours in them. Absolutely beautiful. But again, you're just giving it an impression. So I'm going back in, just adding some lines and some detail squiggles. So here, I'm now pushing that dark. Even if it's a 2B, you can push it. You're also pushing the 4B pencil up. I mean, just soften that highlight up. And there, so I've just pulled some of the colour off, and you can just keep going as much or as little as you want. I'm using the right tip of the pencil now, and then in that little wiggly snake bit, really pulling the highlight up, and the same round on that side, softening that shadow down. But there, straight away, we've got Dumbledore's hat. Now we need to do similar for his shoulder. Now, the shape of his hair, his beard and his hair that comes down to the side is quite wispy. So I'm just filling that in really quickly and simply. Just going for that mid-tone, just so as you're indicating the shoulder and it's framing the side of his head off. And then you can see the shadow comes in through his beard to the sides. So I'm now using the tip, getting tighter lines just to increase that shadow that's coming through the hairs. And then again, you can just really pull the putty rubber and very quickly just pinch it, and you can just dab and indicate some of the hairs, the highlights, where it's wisping off from his beard over that shadow bit. And again, that's just a quick indication, very impressionistic. Now, on this side, get rid of that line. We've got, I'm resting on my hand again. We've got this oval, the kind of, it's like almost like a button in the top of this patterning here. So here we've got a triangle and then a diamond and then another triangle that comes down, and there's a heart. There is actually a heart. That's amazing. So we want to just draw over the top of that, the pattern going round, and then this curves around, and we've got a C. You can see the top of a C there. Then you've got a shape coming down. And then we've got this pattern here, this incredible, it's a bit like a Celtic knotwork in a sense, you know, it's going over and then back underneath. So we put the square in, I'm going to use the side of the pencil as much as I can because it is soft. So there's the square inside, and then this curves down to the edge of this line that we drew, and then you've got this kind of C that comes off, and then if you replicate that, you've got the inside part. Now you come over, replicate it again, you've got the black inner line that comes down, follows the shape down, then you've got a little point, and then that curves off, and then you can fill that in using the side of your pencil. Again, I'm doing it relatively quickly just to make, so I can get the drawing finished really. Now again, I'm using the edge of the pencil, following the side of that line, and then you've got the edge of the beading that comes around and follows it, and you bring it down, you follow the point, and you go off to the edge. And then here we've got the line goes up, little curve, and then a U. Inside you've got the same, and then a little point, fill it all in. And then we've got, like I say, we've got this triangle here with these shapes in. So we've got a little circle, another circle, circle to the edge, and then that curves around. Now I'm just filling in inside those lines that we did, and that will give you the kind of highlighted beading that's around the outside. So again, now we've got this edge part coming up here to this triangle. We've got a triangle of dark, just filling that in quick, and then we've got this diamond. And that comes down to above the heart. I'm just going to fill that shadow line down pretty much a fair way. Now we've got a shadow line that kind of comes across, folds, just little creases. Now here it's just a lot lighter at the top, so I'm going to do that oval for that kind of silvery metallic button, and then this comes down, again, you've just got some little patterns. So if you just kind of indicate the patterns in the right place. So here's a kind of little diamond shape with curves. Now if you want to do this absolutely accurately, again, I'm going to repeat myself, and that's the same thing, I will be repeating myself over and over. You've got to spend a long time, and that's absolutely fine. Now I'm going to sharpen my pencil, and I'm going to use the soft side and I'm indicating where the dark is as it goes under Dumbledore's beard. Now, coming right the way over, we've got the same tone pretty much, so I'm going to go all the way over and then just strengthen up the kind of beading braid lines. We've got a little bit of a squiggle there for the kind of metallic-y bits in the disc and the kind of centre button. And then there's just some kind of shaping there. And I'm using the side of the pencil just to, like over here, fill in the tones all the way down. Now you can either leave it like that, or you can just get your little bit of kitchen roll and you can push the tone around a little bit, just soften it off. You've still got some of the pencil lines, and then you can come back in with your putty rubber and just give some highlight definition so you can kind of see there the folds, the highlight shimmering off the fabric. And if you just dab and indicate, there you've got like the really nice patterning. And again, just simple, quick cross hatching. You can darken down everything. So, again, I'm using the 2B pencil. And it's darkening down the, because it is like a really nice dark velvety black pattern in this kind of piping on his cloak. But you've done the hard work by creating the shapes, and even by doing these lines very quickly, you can fill them in quite rapidly, giving more definition and shape and tone. Oops, nearly lost my 4B pencil there. Very quickly on the pattern on Dumbledore's cloak. So I'm filling that in. Coming right the way down. And then going up. Now I'm really just going to sharpen the edge of that braiding up. Just add some more cross hatching, and there you can see you've got the patterning on Dumbledore's cloak in really quickly and nicely. Then you can just soften the tones in and make it work. Again, just cross hatching, whacking the pencil over as quickly as possible. I'm going to pick out that heart again because that's really lovely. And then you really can just pull out a couple of the highlights like you did on the hat. And you've got that kind of fabric softness. But there we have Dumbledore looking rather fantastic. Just sharpening my 2B pencil again. So now we are on to final details. So I wanted a sharp point on my 2B pencil so that I can really pick out the edges of his wire-rimmed half-moon spectacles. Now, right in the centre of there, we've got either side black reflected in the glasses. Now, his eye, I'm going to really darken down underneath, going right into that corner. On the edge of the hinge. Then going up to the side of his head. Here we've got the direct shadow. It's coming down from his head, and then we've got a number of his crease lines. We'll come back to them in a moment. So now, right underneath his left lens, I'm just sharpening the line up. Again, the same on the inside. And now the same on this side. Darkening the pupil and his eye underneath, then right to the hinge on the side. And then the dark over the top. So right there we've got a shadow in between and a highlight either side. Now we've got a shadow coming right the way down underneath, and we've got a highlight on the top. So again, I'm just turning the pencil, using the sharp point and being very careful to get that in, and the same on this side. Now I'm going to get my putty rubber and the highlights. I'm just going to dab where they are and just pull off the pencil so that it shines. Again, right here in the bottom. Right the way around the bottom on that side. And then across the top and on the sides. Now, using the point of your pencil again, can increase the shadows around his eyes, around the frames, and you've just got to be careful. So here, coming down, you've got a shadow right next to the frame, and that curves over and goes over his nose, and there's kind of two little lines, and we want to increase the shadow there, going right up into the corner, creasing in between his two eye sockets, right under the eye. Now we've got an increase in the shadow there, and then right from the corner coming up. Now down here we've got the shadow caused by the top rim of the half moon spectacles, and also the bags and the folds underneath his lower eyelid. And then you've got these creases coming off on the side. So here we've got quite a stark shadow line. And the same coming down to his cheek. Now we can increase the shadow coming off from his hair, coming over the bar, right by the side of his cheek coming down. And then the head, and going up to the side of his forehead. We've got this. Just indicates some of the light, but we can just build the shadow up slightly, coming across. To leave this strong highlight on this side totally exposed. Now again, you can just come back in and pull it out with your putty rubber that little bit. So now I'm increasing in the centre of his forehead, and you're just bringing it in line with the hat, and you can see his eyes are really starting to leap off the page now. And the same on this side. And you want to increase the shadow. You can see like the fold above his eye, it's very dark. And that goes up into that corner, and there's a secondary kind of shadow there. And then you've got that crease going up. And then right underneath his eye, in his tear duct, underneath the half moon of the glasses, right into this corner. Again, we can increase the shadow coming down caused by the bottom of the glasses as that comes around and then curves back up. We need to darken up right underneath, and then we've got this fantastic shadow caused by his glasses underneath his eye, and then we can finish his eye off next. So now we're just increasing the shadows in the eye underneath. We've got this great dark, and we've got a second one that comes round. And then all of these shadows that come down the side. And we want right off the corner. And we've got a really good set of highlights here. So now we can just pull them in quickly, just some little dabs of the putty rubber. Again, this crease in the middle, across the top of his forehead, just some little reflected highlights. Again, like these creases, his laughter lines that are coming off the side of his face are just brilliant. But we're just increasing the shadows all around his eyes and his glasses. So now you can see his eyes are really, really lifted. And we're on the home stretch. So now I'm increasing the shadows underneath his nose, his nostrils, really darkening that down underneath, but softening it out so it isn't just a solid black line. You just feather it out slightly. So now, right in the corner, little kind of rectangle of shade. Caused a little bit of shade there, caused by the glasses, and then his nose, we've just got a secondary kind of shadow line that comes down there. Again, the same on this side. We want to increase the shadow a little bit, and right the way up the side. A little bit that curves over. And then the centre of his forehead. Now again, you can fiddle with this absolutely loads, and this is what any artist does. Eventually you just come to a point where you go, yep, I'm finished and I'm done. But I'm just trying to bring this, like I say, his nose is really starting to lift off the page as well, to a point where I'm really happy with the image all the way over. So again, I'm bringing and intensifying the shadow down, that crease in his cheek, coming down into his beard, swirls coming off the side of his head into this S of hair that comes down. Again, I'm just turning the pencil just to get sharper, slightly sharper lines for that shadow down there. Again, on this side, the same. Just intensifying, and the darks that we're putting in now here are going to make this highlighted area stand out that little bit more. So again, even this part down by his cheek and over his nose, we can increase that. And his top lip, and the shadow coming down from his nose. And then again, coming down off the side from here, we've got all the wispy little bits of hair. We can increase the shadow off the corner of his mouth as that comes down, and then this curve of shadow that's coming down underneath. Right to the side. Again, I'm being very loose with the sketching. To just indicate the wispy direction of Dumbledore's beard coming all the way down. And we've got this patch of darker tone here where his chin is, kind of coming off to the side. Again, I'm still just twisting the pencil quickly to give me that wispy effect in his beard. And there's still obviously paper being shown through, but the real highlight part here is still showing out, and it's becoming more and more accentuated with the more and more tone that I'm putting down on the paper. You can always add, it's easier to add darker tone than it is to take it away. That's another one of the phrases that I keep on using and repeating over and over. Just going to sharpen my pencil again. So now I can indicate some nice wispy lines coming off his moustache down into his beard. I'm darkening down the shadow just a little bit on the side of his face, coming down into the hair on the side of his head. And there, that's looking pretty good. I am really, really pleased with that. So now up on his forehead, we're now just going to start pulling out some highlights. Pull out his nose a little bit. This part on the cheek. And then we've got right in the corners of the glasses, you've got these highlights that are showing up. The bridge of the nose over the top. Then you've got the light white wispy bits going into the top of his eye socket from his eyebrow. Just darken that down using the sides. Now his lip here, just on that side, and then the top lip, and right on the edge. Indicating some highlights in again. Now you can darken all this area around the back if you want, but I'm not going to do that. So again, this passage around here, just filling in with some tone, just by gently touching with the kitchen roll. Again, right across his lip. side of his head going up. And then if we really crisp up these highlights on his cheek, on the side of his nose, all the creases on the side, and then that fantastic line going up, his eyebrow over there, and that's our Dumbledore looking pretty good. Again, the top just dappling where his whiskers are on his chin, and then coming down we've got some highlighted bits. Just indicating the direction of the hair going down over his shoulder, this kind of S pattern. And we've got some nice coming off the glasses there, just some nice highlights right out of the corner. And that is looking pretty good. I've really enjoyed doing Dumbledore. So I did the young one a long time ago, and ever since then people have asked for the old. Now I am going to have to do Dumbledore played by Michael Gambon in all the other films, and that will be next, so that we've got the lot together. And then I will be doing more Harry Potter characters. I'm aiming to do one a week for the ensuing weeks at least. But again, do like and subscribe, tick the bell to be notified when new how to draw videos are available. So now I'm using the point of the pencil, twisting it, and I'm just going up into the hair and the beard, just adding some slightly darker marks, and that increases the intensity of that highlight on the side. And this is just bare paper. So now I'm doing the same for the top of his moustache on his top lip. Now I'm just really darkening down so that his teeth are just nicely accentuated into the dark in the side of his mouth. And this is now really what I call the kind of fiddling stage, where you're just going round, adding some tones, just making sure you're at the point where you are happy with your art. So again, like I say, just doing that, you can see just needs a couple little highlights on his upper eyelid, same on that side, side of his head going up. But I am really happy with that. Just softening those down that little bit. A couple of little lines to just darken this top part down. But I am really pleased with that. I hope you are. Anyway, I am now going to just add the signature. Anyway, thank you ever so much. I hope you've enjoyed that lesson. Please do like and subscribe for the next Harry Potter lesson, but also whatever else I'm going to be drawing, and there are going to be lots of things. Anyway, I hope you've had fun drawing Albus Dumbledore from Harry Potter. Do take care, and I'll see you in the next drawing. Oh, and do remember, if you do a drawing and you want to share it out and share out the videos, do put the hashtag in drawing with Billy. Thank you so much. Take care. See you next time. Ta-da.